host, and today our mission is unpacking how procedural rules in jury selection can actually operationalize systemic racism.
Right, and we're looking at this through the lens of the 2026 Texas v. Karmelo Anthony case, and I'll be your expert today.
Glad to have you. So let's get right into the Karmelo Anthony case. This was April 2025, Frisco, Texas.
At a regional high school track meet during a rain delay.
Yeah, and it turns violent. So Karmelo Anthony, who is a 17-year-old black honors student, stabs Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old white student, after an altercation in a team tent.
And Anthony immediately claims self-defense. He told the police, he put his hands on me.
But the public division around this incident just exploded, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you had these competing crowd funds that really highlighted the split. Metcalf's family raised nearly $250,000 on GoFundMe.
Wow.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Anthony's family raised over $500,000 on GiveSendGo. And the platform's founder actually directly compared Anthony's self-defense claim to Kyle Rittenhouse.
So my big question is, if the culture is this fiercely split, how do lawyers possibly build an unbiased jury out of, 589 locals?
Well, they narrowed it down using peremptory strikes, which is essentially a lawyer's right to dismiss a potential juror without having to give an initial reason.
Right.
And here, prosecutors used them to remove the only 3 remaining black women in the jury pool.
But their justification was, frankly, wild.
Yeah.
They claimed they struck these 3 women because they were educators.
Right.
And since the stabbing happened at a school event, they supposedly didn't want teachers on the jury. But they literally allowed a white female educator onto the final jury.
Because their excuse for her was she teaches at a trade school, not a high school.
Which is just, and the judge accepted that rationale.
Yeah, judge accepted it. This exposes a massive historical flaw in how jury selection operates under a 1986 Supreme Court ruling called Batson v. Kentucky.
Let me see if I have this straight. Batson says a prosecutor cannot explicitly ban you from the jury box because of your race. It's kind of like a nightclub bouncer. The bouncer can't say you can't come in because of your race, but they can legally reject you by claiming they don't like your shoes.
Right.
Then the manager comes out, forces the bouncer to explain the shoe rule, and as long as the bouncer keeps a straight face and says it's our strict dress code, the manager rubber stamps it.
That is the exact legal mechanism, and for decades, prosecutors have exploited this Batson loophole. Investigations show they routinely strike black jurors for wildly subjective pretexts. Things like wearing glasses, chewing gum, giving monosyllabic answers, or just living in a high-crime area.
Just completely subjective.
Exactly. As long as the excuse sounds race-neutral, courts just let it slide.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Next time you're sitting in a plastic chair at the courthouse waiting for jury duty, look at who is being sent home.
Because who sits next to you actually changes the trial's outcome.
Yes. The data shows that when this loophole manufactures racially homogenous, all-white juries, they deliberate for shorter periods and make more factual errors. Which proves systemic racism isn't just about bigoted individuals. It's an institutional loop.
Right. The procedural rules themselves operationalize the disparity. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, states are actually rebelling against this flawed system.
Oh, so they aren't just stuck with this bouncer loophole forever.
Not anymore. States are getting so fed up with it that they're rewriting their own rules. Washington State, for instance, instituted an objective observer standard.
How does that actually work in the courtroom, though?
Well, under Batson, a judge basically has to accuse a prosecutor of secretly harboring racist intent.
Which is nearly impossible to prove. You can't read their mind.
Exactly. So Washington shifted the burden. Now, the judge simply asks, would an objective third-party observer think race was a factor in kicking this juror out?
That completely changes the math.
It really does. And Arizona went even further. They radically abolished peremptory strikes entirely.
Wow. So no more kicking someone out just because you don't like their shoes.
Precisely. In Arizona, you can now only remove a juror for cause. You have to prove actual documented bias to the judge.
It fundamentally changes the game. Well, that wraps up today's deep dive. Thank you for joining us. What stands out to you?
And I'll leave you with one final thread to explore on your own. Karmelo Anthony was actually prosecuted as an adult under Texas's direct file laws. These laws allow prosecutors to try minors in adult courts without any judicial oversight.
Wait, meaning a judge doesn't even review the evidence first?
Yes. The prosecutor has unchecked power to bump a minor into the harsher adult system.
That's incredible.
And because there is no oversight, it's an entirely different pipeline that inherently fuels racial disparities in justice, operating right alongside the jury selection issue.
It really makes you wonder how many other invisible lines are drawn in the legal system and how many other ways that bouncer's keeping people out of the club.